Shalom, welcome once again to a beautiful Wednesday evening at 7:30. As promised, as advertised, we are here for the midweek MIDrash, the opportunity to continue our study in the model prayer, which in itself is an extended study of studies. And Thy Kingdom Come is the portion we're at right now. I've been studying the next portion, Thy Will Be Done. That'll be coming next, and it's good. We have the order of the prayer uh, designed for us to follow a certain path, even as the Moedim, the appointed times of the year, have an order and an appointed time specifically. So are all of these things. They all come at the right time. The right time. Nothing comes um, in and of itself, but all part of the plan, the pattern. That's why the model prayer is a pattern of prayer, and we make our petitions known to Yah in the first half of the model prayer, in which we make declarations for Yahuwah to be honored, that His name would be kadosh and declared holy, that His kingdom would come, and that His will would be accomplished. So those are our declarations. And then we can get into our needs, our daily needs, our forgiveness, and our protection. But it begins a certain way for a reason. It's not just Messiah put a bunch of subjects in a hat and kind of shook it up and said, okay, part one is this. No, there's an order. There's an order. The opposite of order is chaos. The word for order is also Siddur, where we get the Siddur from. Okay, the Siddur is the order of the service. Okay, the Haggadah of Passover is the telling of the event. So let me see. Did I say that right? The Siddur. No, I think I said something wrong there. But let's get started with Gilbert and Patricia. Patricia is celebrating 80 years today. That's a big celebration. And there might be some saying, oh, looking down your nose, oh, you're celebrating birthdays? Yes. We celebrate her advent because she's with us and she's a blessing. So we praise Yah for her timely arrival. Okay? So we're welcoming Pat, and we're also welcoming Gilbert. And Gilbert, if you would do the honors of the opening prayer, please.
Yes, sir. Abba, we thank you once more for being your presence this evening, and we thank you, oh yeah, for the rising of the sun to the going down, thou art the great Elohim. Father, as we come to you this evening, we ask for your presence, dear Father. May you send the Holy Spirit to guide us, dear Father. Bless our leader, dear Yah. I ask a special blessing for him, especially with his health, oh Father. And I ask that you continue to guide us, each and every one of us that is listening tonight, dear Father, for the word, oh yeah, which is love, which is life, and life everlasting, oh yeah. Into your hands, yeah, we commit ourselves, and give you thanks in your Son Yeshua's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gil. Thank you, Gil. And again, the kingdom rules varies greatly from the rules of this world established by the evil one that penetrated our society. Actually, the word I was looking for was seder, which is the seder. That means the order of things. All the things of Yah are in order. So we keep the Pesach in order, and all the Moedim that flow from that first great Moed of the new year, all the way here to the cusp of the 7th month. We are still in the 6th month, but we're running quickly towards the 7th month. And we say Todah Rabbah to Yah, and I say Todah Rabbah to you. Many thanks. We give you thanks for this. And I also wanted to mention how we concluded last week, in which we looked at the Beatitudes, the Torah from the top, Messiah preaching to a large audience, and we got to verse 12. I just wanted to reemphasize that before we go further, because it's important. Because the rules of the kingdom is we love our enemies. We don't hate them. We love our enemies. We do things quite differently. We don't lord it over those who are being ruled. So it's important that we understand that and not allow us to lose sight of that. Okay, just giving a look-see here of our restream. So again, we have the chats open if you want to make any comments during the course of the proceedings for the evening. Okay, so we look at verse 12. I'm just going on making sure that everything is looking good on the YouTube stream. The stream, which is like as a river. Okay, the mighty river. The river Yarden, where the mikveh would take place. Okay? Messiah said, rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so they persecuted the prophets who were before you. So for every insult we receive a reward because we don't respond in kind. And a lot of us grit our teeth with, chomping at the bit, trying to get back at people, being vengeful, and I'm going to get you back, don't you worry. No, vengeance belongs to Yah. And if it's a person of the faith, hopefully that would never be the circumstance, but it can be in this world. Yah will take care of it. Don't worry about it. The battle is not ours, it's his anyway. So again, insult, reward. We can't control what people say or do to us, but what we can control is what we do in response. He is our defense. We shall not be moved. And I concluded by talking about we don't sow discord and division. And the rules of the kingdom are all about conflict resolution. Before we go any further in our lusting, before it becomes an adulterous situation, we nip off that temptation at the moment of its coming to being, at the initiation point. Okay, I need to give myself a good slap because my motor skills are lacking tonight for some reason. Okay, so if we nip it in the bud of the initiation point, we don't have to worry about where it's leading us. The Messiah also talked about hatred of our brother and our sister, which culminates in murder potentially. We got to zip it back to the initiation point and change our direction. Get the shears out and the pliers out, and do a little snipping, do a little garden work. Nip it in the bud. Get rid of it while you can before it becomes anything big, before it becomes bigger. And we say, well, that's only a small thing. Yeah, but from the mighty oak tree, the tiny acorn did grow, a tiny little acorn, or the mustard seed starts off tiny. Okay, so let's continue. That was a little rundown from last week with regards to the kingdom rules. Okay, our rewards. And you know what? I don't really believe that we should be motivated by rewards alone. Okay, you're looking forward to that? I am too. But the idea of doing things for the sake of doing them, that you don't need to be prodded, that you want to bless somebody simply by doing something that would be a help to somebody. Not saying, well, that means I got one up on them, now they owe me. No, don't keep score. God doesn't keep score. It's foolish for us to keep score. In sports this time of the year, in baseball, people are looking at the scoreboard. The teams behind them are creeping up, or the teams ahead of them are winning or losing, and we got to make our move based upon that. So we're looking at the score. We're checking the score. You know what? Yah doesn't, and that's where people get us wrong when we say we keep Torah. We keep the instructions of Yah to the best of our ability. We do that. And our ability is great. We go beyond what the flesh would dictate. So when I say our ability, I mean our actions, our righteous actions, which come from faith infused by the Ruach, by the Spirit. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about that. Okay? So, the kingdom, the kingdom, the kingdom. Let us move forward. And again, we need to do something nice because it's a nice thing to do it. It's better to give than to receive. More blessed. Again, ashrei, more, it makes you happy to give and meet a need of somebody. When somebody's in need, it really fills you up. It really makes you feel wonderful, you know, rather than being on the receiving end, which is also a blessing, because by receiving, you give the giver an opportunity to be blessed in the act of giving, which is agape, which is active love, which is love that shows itself. It's not inferred. It is overt. It is, oh, wow, you didn't have to do that. Well, I know I didn't have to do that. That's why I did it. I didn't have to. There was no compunction. There was nobody holding a gun to my head or threatening me, blackmailing me that I needed to do something. We do it because that's what Yah would do. Messiah is our example. Messiah is the standard. So let's look at Luke chapter 12, verse 31 in our scriptures here. Verse 31 of chapter 12 of Luke. But seek the kingdom of Elohim. Seek. It's not going to fall in your lap. You have to look for it. You have to seek. You have to search for it. It's a search. It's not a simple changing of the channel. You got to look for it. You got to find it. And how do you know you're going to find it? But seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. Everything else will be added to you. But this is what he also said. But seek the kingdom of Elohim, and all these things shall be added to you. Do not fear, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. You don't earn the kingdom. You seek for the kingdom. And everything else that we might reflect upon, well, if I'm seeking the kingdom, what about this? What about these other things being undone? No, they'll be all taken care of. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about your clothing or your food or your drink. We covered that last week. These will be taken care of. You'll be taken care of. Do not fear, little flock. And notice he doesn't say huge, humongous flock. He says little flock, little flock. Because this is comprised and composed of the lost sheep who are being found little by little. We left the 99 in the field and went after the one. So the flock is coming in. The flock is small compared to what it will be. Do not fear, little flock. And again, it's not to be intimidated by numbers. You know, when I first got into ministry, I was always comparing ourselves with other groups that we were small and others were really thriving. You know, it was like competition, and other groups were competing with us for different things, and it's just foolish. Do not fear. Do not get anxious. Do not be fearful, little flock, about missing of the kingdom or missing about the things to be added to us. For it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. He gains pleasure to give us. His pleasure is in the giving. Every good and perfect gift comes from Yahuwah, the Father of lights, in whom there is no shadow of variation, no gray area. He's pure and kadosh. Okay. So don't forget to chat in with us tonight. Okay, it is his pleasure. He gains pleasure, just like when we talk about the Sabbath. When we put aside our pleasures, our words, our things, our whatevers, we find pleasure in Yah. And we do. We keep his Shabbat because he said, keep the Shabbat and keep it kadosh. It's the day that he blessed and he set apart. We go to 2 Timothy Beit, chapter 2, verse 11 and 12. This is a faithful saying. Okay, so he reminds us of something that we would be familiar with. You know, like if you're playing Wheel of Fortune and you have a category, you generally want to go with phrase, okay, because it's something that's, familiar. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, that's missing letters, but you can figure it out. So this is a faithful saying, and he points out this specific one is faithful. We remember a lot of nonsense. My head is filled with a lot of marbles and a lot of marshmallows. And every so often I got to do a spring cleaning and make sure that I have them in the right order. Okay? And listen to this faithful saying. For if we died with him, we shall also live with him. Now, what does that mean? We died with him. We died to sin. He died for our sin, and now we die to sin because we are in Messiah and him in us. And if he died for our sins, why are we still living in it? Why are we still functioning as if sin had a hold on us? Like I said earlier, it has blackmail information. It has photographs. If the devil has some stuff on you, you gotta make sure that you resolve those issues and get rid of whatever it is. Make teshuvah, repent from these things. Okay? If we died with him, we shall also live with him. Yeah. We think that we're struggling. Oh, I don't do this. I don't do that anymore. That was kind of fun, what I used to do. We gained pleasure from the things of the world, but we don't get joy. Some of the pleasures lead to guilt and doubt and regret. Yeah, it felt good at the time, but I see I didn't expect that to happen, so I'm sorry about that. But at the time, it was like, oh yeah. So think what he's saying. If we died with him, we deny ourselves some of these pleasures, which don't add up to anything, does not give us true joy. Simcha comes from Yah. A lot of things can make us happy, like Ashereh, we blessed and happy are you. But Simcha goes even deeper. Simcha goes deeper. Just like to be of the Kadoshim, the holy ones, is greater than being of the Tzaddikim, of the righteous ones. The holy ones are righteous as well, but not all the righteous are holy. It's like saying all tuna are fish, but not all fish are tuna. Okay? Bad example, I know. Okay? If we die with him, we will live with him. If we endure, we shall also reign with him, because he lives and he lives to reign. If we deny him, he will also deny us. So give and take, give and take. Set the example, meet the standard he sets for us, which is not too hard for us. He's got a stopwatch. He says, okay, I want you to run a 50-second mile. What? He'll give us the time that he knows that we can achieve. Sometimes only if we give it that little extra oomph. But if we just kind of lollygag, which is a good old Hebrew word, right? Lollygag. And some of us like to lollygag. It's an old word. I'm sure a lot of the younger people have never heard of that, but lollygag, taking it easy, like the grasshopper and the ant, the great story, the grasshopper and the ant. The ant was very industrious, gathering food, while the grasshopper's taking it easy, singing, "Oh, the world owes me a living," the old Disney cartoon. But then the snow starts falling, and the grasshopper's in trouble, but the ants help him out at the end. But I don't think the original story ended that way. I think they just find the grasshopper dead. See, that's what happens when you lollygag, Ernie. There's a lollygagger there. And now we have this delicious grasshopper, stiff as a board and dead. Maybe we can have a snack tonight after all. Okay? So if we endure, we shall also reign with him. He's appointed us to be kings and Kohanim and priests. And of course, the women out there, you are to be queens and prince and priests as well. If we endure, we shall, which means servants, because to reign with him means that we serve him. He is the Malach Hagadol, the great king, and we are his vassal kings. We serve under him, and we're accountable to him. But we will be trusted to rule and reign. Just like many of the parables have to do with those. What do they do? Messiah gives you instruction. Do you take care of it? Do you invest it? Are you faithful in it? Or do you kind of lollygag? So that's the difference. If we deny him, and we don't just deny him in our words, we deny him even louder by our actions. Oh, yes, I believe blah, 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 blah. And I'm a very righteous person, very holy person. But there's no evidence. There's no evidence of that. And I'm not talking about a body count, putting a notch on your buckle for everyone that you convince to say the sinner's prayer after you. If we deny him, he will also deny us. He cannot deny himself, however. and those are in him are approved of him. So what is this malchut? What is this malchut? How is it governed? How is it put into place? I'm going to look at a couple of verses here, a couple of longer verses. Yochanan 18, John 18, and 18 again is the number of life. It is the number of chai, I believe. So if you bless a child with $18 or $180 or $1,800, I'll take the latter. That's chai. Chai. You combine the letter chet with the yod. Chet. How much is a chet? Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Het, Yod. Okay, you combine those numbers. The yod is 10, and the chet is 8. It's 18, right? Aleph, Beit, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Chet, Het, Yod. Right, 18. So here we are in the chapter of life. And then Pilate entered the praetorium again and called Yeshua and said to him, "Are you the Melech of the Yehudim? Are you the king of the Jews?" Yeshua answered to him, "Are you speaking for yourself about this, or did others tell you this concerning me?" Is he just mimicking what others say? Or is he thinking, yeah, maybe he is? So Pilate answered, "Am I a Yehudi? Am I a Jew? Your own nation and the chief priests have delivered you to me. What have you done?" So Pilate asks a question, somewhat disrespectful, but then again, he's asking me, is this something I heard or I come? Says, "Look, am I a Yehudi? Am I a Jew who would say that? Your own nation, the Yehudim, and the chief priests have delivered you to me. They want you dead. They want you gonzo. They want you obliterated. What have you done?" Yeshua answered, "My malchut is not of this world. My kingdom is not of this world. It's not composed of this world. It is from beyond. It is beyond. His kingdom is an extension of the malchut hashemayim, the kingdom of heaven." Continuing, "If my kingdom were of this world, my servants would fight, so that I should not be delivered to the Yehudim. But now my malchut is not from here. It's not from here. So don't worry, Pilate. I'm not claiming my throne above Caesar's in this world, because Caesar's throne is of here, is from here. My kingdom is not physically a threat to you. Okay, physically? Because we're not fighting. We're not fighting you. We don't back the zealots. We don't back assassinations. How many of the Meshikim, the Nazarim, were responsible for murdering Roman citizens or Roman soldiers? I would dare say none. Pilate therefore said to him, "Are you a melech then? Are you a melech?" And Yeshua answered, "You say rightly that I am a melech. For this cause I was born, and for this cause I have come into this world, that I should bear witness to the emet, to the truth." Okay? Everyone who is of the truth hears my voice. So again, his kingdom is of Shemayim, of heaven. His truth is of Shemayim. His words are truth. Those who hear his voice hear truth. It's up to us to accept it or reject it. Just like we said, Messiah said, if we deny him, he will also deny us. But I thought he was merciful. I thought he was our sugar daddy. We can exploit him. Even if we mock him and drag his name in the dust and reject him, and he still loves us. Okay, you tried that. You okay, good. You do that. Let me know how that works out for you. Everyone who is of the truth, again, of the truth. We are not of this world. We've been birthed into a malchut that is not of this world. Yeah, I'm still living in Queens, New York, USA. So I am physically of this world, but spiritually I'm not of this world. I don't govern. I don't look at political polls and opinion polls to see which way I should lean, left or right. I lean where Yah is. I lean my head upon his bosom, as Yochanan did during the Seder, the Passover. Okay? Everyone who's of this truth hears my voice. And then Pilate says to him, okay, what is truth? What is truth? Now, was that an earnest question? What is truth? Or was he kind of blowing him off? What is truth? We don't know. We don't know. We just have the narrative. We don't have, and he said so sardonically, what is truth? Just like, and Messiah said exasperatedly, enough. 2 swords is more than enough. It's enough. I don't want to talk about it. Some of these things we want to put in our own directions. It's like we're writing a play, or he wrote the play. We're just putting in little reactions for the actor who's on stage, how he recites the line. And we're not given that option. Sometimes we're told that somebody says something with sadness or with joy or with anger, but sometimes it's just laconically let out for us. We go to the book of Acts chapter 1, and this is another one we often turn to when we hear of the kingdom. Therefore, when they had come together, they asked him, saying, Adon, will you at this time restore the Malchut to Israel? Will you restore this kingdom to Israel? Notice he didn't say to Judah or to the Yehudim, but Israel, 12 tribes, Israel. And he said to them, it is not for you to know times or seasons which the Father has put in his own authority. It's not for you to know times or seasons which Yahweh has put in his own authority. Now notice he's not saying it's not for you to know times and seasons, which when we know better, we understand that seasons refer to the Moedim, the appointed times. He's not saying it's not for you to know the appointed times. He's not saying that. We should know the time. And we should know the seasons. Okay? It is not for you to know the times of season which Yahuwah is put in his own authority to answer that question, because we know that the Malchut will be established once Messiah returns, and we're coming up onto the 7th month, which is the Shabbat month, the Shabbaton month of the calendar. If we want to use that word calendar, I know there are those who bristle at that word, but the times of Yah, the times of Elohim, the times of the Malachim. Okay? So with the 7th month, we believe that Yom Teruah is the day of the awakening call, otherwise known as trumpets, which, as you know, we're going to be doing in a few weeks. We're going to be setting aside our normal teaching to cover the Moedim of Teruah, and then Sukkot, and the 8th great day. They all fall on Wednesdays. So we'll be doing our specific teachings regarding those Moedim at their appointed times, as Yah ordained that we do. So it's not for you to know these times and when this is going to happen, that he has put forth in his own authority when this is going to happen. Okay? But you shall receive power, the dynamos, where we get dynamite from, when the Ruach HaKodesh, when the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of holiness, has come upon you. And you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. So notice, it starts in Jerusalem, where the Jews are. Judea, further group of mixed. There are still others from other tribes, lineage mixed in Judea. And then Samaria, which represent Ephraim and the rest of the lost sheep scattered and sifted through the nations. Wherever the lost sheep have been scattered, that's the ends of the earth. Wherever the four corners of the earth is where Israel is returning from at the time of the end. And it's happening now. So what will this kingdom be like? What's going to happen once Messiah establishes his throne? What happens? Why is it going to be so special? And again, of course, I'm skipping certain events, the persecution, time of Jacob's trouble, the heavy persecution, tribulation, the return of Messiah, So there's a lot of stuff I'm skipping through right now to get to the kingdom. Once it's been established, once the cleanup is finished, how is those 1,000 years reflected upon its citizens? We go to the 11th chapter, verse 4 of Yeshayahu Hanavi, Isaiah the prophet. Oh, wow. Hadassah, shalom, shalom. Colin, speak. Oh, man. Oh, man. Good to see you. Good to see you on the MIDweek, Colin. Good to see that you're out. Okay, praise Yah. What's the silly name? And hello, oh, man. There is so much happening in this world. It certainly is. Hello, Brother Colin. Oh, man. So there's a lot going on, and we need to be aware of the stuff. A lot of people say, well, I want to see the news. I don't. And again, we got to be selective about what source that we're talking in. And I'm not here to do that. I'm not doing that. But I will tell you that the main sources of news are corrupt. And I don't want to get into politics because that's how YouTube will censor us. All we need to do is go to reliable people of record, people who have the receipts, so to speak. But with righteousness he shall judge the poor and decide with equity the meek of the earth, the humble of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. And the rod of his mouth is what? Is the word. What comes forth from the mouth? The word. The word judges us. Mashiach is ultimately the great Shofet, the Shofet. Amen. Okay. So he will strike the earth with the rod of his mouth. So when he comes back, he's taking us aside and he's letting loose. When sin is fulfilled, the fullness of sin takes place. And I don't know how much more room there is in the tank, frankly, because it's, I don't know how much more wiggle room there is. But he shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, because the word is uncompromising and it's a two-edged sword. It penetrates deep and makes distinction between the tov and the ra, the good and the evil. And with the breath of his lips, the ruach, his breath, he breathes, and we receive the breath of life as we are, each one of us, a nefesh, a living being. He breathes into us and gives us his ruach. With the breath of his lips, he shall slay the wicked, the lawless is the word there. The rod of his mouth and the breath which delivers the word, he shall slay those who reject the word. For all these years, all these opportunities, all these delays, he doesn't want anyone to perish, but that everyone would come to righteousness. Righteousness shall be the belt of his loins, and faithfulness the belt of his waist. Okay? So the belt is faithful and righteous. What does the belt represent? Well, it keeps our pants up. That's one answer. But it's right at our midsection. It makes sure that we're ready. When men of Yah would wear the robes, they would prepare themselves in battle. They would take off their belts, wrap the long flowing parts around the thighs so they had freedom of movement, and get ready to do the deed that needs to be done. So righteousness, faithfulness to the word. Faith, that's what righteousness is. Faithfulness to the word, which strikes the earth like a rod. And the shepherd has returned to the flock. All the missing flock, the little flock and the big flock are all here, all ashore that's coming ashore. And now he's dealing with the oppressors, with the lawless, with those who are not of his kingdom. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. You have no part in me. I have no part in you. I don't recognize you. I don't recognize your voice. I don't know who you are or where you've been living all these years. All I know is that I've been leaving all these messages on your voicemail, and you never want to pick up. You're always too busy. Always too busy. So righteousness shall be the belt of his loins, and faithfulness the belt of his waist. So wrapping up our waist and our loins So we have freedom of movement to do the battle. And then it says the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. The leopard shall lie down with the young goat, the calf and the young lion, and the fatling together. And a little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze. Their young ones shall lie down together. Predator and prey, their offspring will lie down together with no fear. The young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. And people say, well, look at those teeth. Look at those canine teeth. You're telling me that was made to eat lettuce and tomato and eggplant? Well, there's one vegetarian that people say, well, that's kind of our cousin. Well, look at the gorilla. The gorilla is completely vegetarian. But when he opens his mouth, what do you see there? What do you see there? Huge canine teeth. Hallelujah. For Abba's will is that no one should perish, but that unfortunately the enemy is crouching at the gate. We need to be careful. Yes, the enemy is at the gate. The enemy is at the gate. So like the teaching I did a couple weeks ago, don't lower your guard and allow any gift horses into your realm, because you have powerful walls. But once the enemy is within, you're done. You're done. So again, he's describing shalom. When we talk about peace, we're talking about wolves and lambs, leopards and goats, lions and calves. A child is walking in the midst of all these wild, predatory carnivores. The cow and the bear shall graze. That's going to be a sight. The young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play by the cobra's hole, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the viper's den. Notice the nursing child who's still receiving milk, okay, milk of the word, okay, he will play by the cobra's hole, okay, not fearful of the cobra. And the weaned child, the one who's also eating solid food, shall put his hand on the viper's den. So the nursing child can play by the cobra's home, but the weaned child can put his hand right inside the viper's den. See, that's a subtle thing there. The nursing child, as the author of Hebrews, some believe it's Shaul, I'm not so sure. They believe that, the person, regardless, whether it's Silas or whoever, he's saying, you guys should be teachers now, but you're still only drinking milk. You know, to drink milk only shows that you have no sophistication. You have no sense of truth, no depth of knowledge. You're not capable of handling solid food at this point. You need to be weaned. Remember when Yitzhak was weaned, Abraham had a great celebration, a big celebration, because that's what would happen. The idea of going on solid food is a great cause for celebration. Yes, I would say today that that's comparable with our children. Of course, once a kid learns how to pee in the bowl, that's also a cause for celebration. Once they get off the diapers, so once we are weaned, we're capable of doing better things, because we have the not only the milk of the word, because when you're weaned, you can still have some cheese and milk and whatever, dairy products, but you're not having that exclusively. If you were on a dairy diet only, I don't think you'd live very long. You need to exercise your jaws, your mandibles, and there's a lot more nutrition in the solid food. Okay? Okay, so the weaned child over the nursing child. They both are safe. One can play by the cobra's hole, whereas the weaned child can actually put his hand into the den. He doesn't fear the bite. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea. Wow, that's pretty extensive. And it's interesting that the idea was known that the waters cover the sea, cover the majority of the earth. How did they know that? How did Yah know that? How did he just think that the Mediterranean was a big pool of water? Yeah, but what about the rest of the earth? Does it end at the end of the European continents? And does it end in Asia? Or does it go on? But he says, the earth shall be full of the knowledge as the waters cover the sea. So the earth is full with the kochma, with the binah, wisdom, understanding, knowledge of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea, which covers the earth. And in that day, there shall be a root of Jesse. Who is who? That's David, and one greater than David to come, who shall stand as a banner for his people. For the Goyim shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious. So who is the root of Jesse? Is it David? Is it Solomon? They're a type, perhaps. But ultimately, these prophecies are not leading to men who are corrupt, who messed up big time, whose mistakes led to the death of many. Messiah made no mistakes, and his life led to the death of one. And it had to be. He had to drink of that cup. Yeah, we need to be careful. Right on. We should be as innocent as doves. Right? Innocent as doves, but smart as the snakes, as the serpents. Yes. The cunning cobra. Right. So again, the Goyim, which includes the non-Israelites and the Israelites who have been assimilated into the various four corners of the world, we shall seek him, because our word, the prophecies declare this. There shall be a root out of Jesse. So a root, singular, of Jesse. So it can't be David, and it can't be Solomon. It can't even be Yoshiyahu. It can't be any of those. It's got to be somebody else, because he shall stand as a banner to the people. He stood. There would come a time, as Messiah prophesied in Yochanan 3, right? The whole world will see him lifted up, and he will join all men unto him. At Calvary, at Golgotha, at the place of the execution stake, of the cross of Yah, provided that was why he came, to be a melech. He was sent to be a melech, but the door to that royal position was through his personal sacrifice for the sins of his citizens. That's who a malach is. That is a melech is, and that's who a true leader is, who leads the forces into battle, who's there for his people, who's willing to give himself for the people. When Israel said, "Hey, we want a melech like all the other nations," they got melechim, and so they were told, "Look, it's not going to be easy. They're going to take your land. They're going to take your firstborn, and you're going to serve in their army. They're going to take your land. They're going to take this. They're going to take that. You have to tithe them, in addition to the tithe of Yah. They're going to take, and they're going to take. Yah gives." And the sad thing that Yah tells the prophet, he says, "Don't worry, they're not rejecting you, they're rejecting me." One of the great sad verses of the scripture. They've rejected me. But when they deny me, I deny them. And unfortunately, it works both ways. Not out of vindictiveness, but just that the exact change to get on the bus, you have to have exact change, right? You know, "Can you break a 50 for me, mister? I want to get on the bus, but I only have a 50. Exact change, please," or Metro card. Okay? He will stand as a banner to the people and will draw, just like the serpent in the wilderness. He will gather all mankind, all types. We all were not at Golgotha 2,000 years ago, but we all come to the cross. We all come to the execution stake. Anyone who knows Yah, anyone who follows Messiah, we have to come to the executioner's stake, the tree of sacrifice, the cross of Calvary. That's the way. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one can come to the Father except through me. And the way of suffering, the Via Dolorosa, is the only way. It's the only path. He shall stand as a banner to the people, calling them, recognizing them. When you look across the crowd, when you see these political events or these concerts, everyone's got a banner, right? They're waving it. Notice me. Please notice. Oh, he sees me. Okay, can you play this song over here? We're here. We'd like you to sing this song. Or we'd like you to recognize our support for your campaign. That's right. That's me. We want to be recognized. And he was recognized. He's still being recognized. But a lot of people fail to recognize. They're looking elsewhere. They're looking for other forms of pleasure, which again, do not bring joy, do not bring fullness. We look for the pleasures, the things that make us feel good, make us feel, excited or whatever. It makes us feel. Doesn't make us think. Doesn't make us hear better. Shema, which is to hear, to listen, to understand, to comprehend. Okay? And the Goyim, again, the 12 tribes and beyond shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious. He is the Adon of the Shabbat. He is the Lord of the Sabbath. His resting place, his Sabbath rest. People still seek and need a Sabbath rest. And the majority of the quote-unquote believing world still rejects the Shabbat, the 7-day Sabbath of Yah. I don't know how you're going to figure that out. We go to Yeshayahu 65, verse 19. Okay, but his resting place shall be glorious. And Yah says, I will not share my glory with anyone. And yet we, by our proximity to him, have glory. Not to boast or to make, I'm a big shot. No, not. To be a big shot in the kingdom, you have to be the servant of all. You got to be, if you think that you are something, you're nobody. If you approach him as a nobody, you get elevated right away. If you clean toilets in the kingdom, you are a most blessed and honored person. And his resting place shall be glorious. And we rest with him. He sets this day aside as kadosh, as holy, and separate from the rest of the week. And in the 7th day, the 7,000th year, the millennial reign, it is 1,000-year Shabbat. His resting place shall be glorious. And the Adon of Shabbat becomes the Melech of Shabbat, the Melech HaOlam. We go to 65, verse 19. I will rejoice in Yerushalayim and joy in my people. My people. And again, the world, he must be talking about me. I'm one of his people. I'm a nice guy. I don't do anything wrong. Be careful when he talks about my people. They shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. Who is he usually talking to? Rest is very important. To restart the work week, yes. And again, the root of the word Shabbat is to stop. Stop from foolishness. Stop from self-centered behavior and seeking pleasures. Because in the end time, it says, people will be seekers of pleasures rather than lovers of Yahweh, rather than lovers of the Lord Yah and his Mashiach Yeshua. They'll be seeking for these pleasures, but his resting place shall be glorious. I will rejoice in Yerushalayim and joy in my people. He's going to celebrate. Yah is saying, I will rejoice, I will joy, I will have simcha in my people. So he is the source of simcha, and he has joy in us, those who are of his, Peace on earth, goodwill to men who are approved of Yah. That's not a Christmas card. That's a millennial promise. Okay, Collins there is nothing new under the sun for the people of the world like to be entertained still. Yeah. Bread and circuses, the Romans got that down pat. We entertain them and keep them stupid. They will never rebel against us because everything's taken care of. They don't have to lift a finger. The modern stadiums are no different than the. Oh yeah, okay, just what I was saying. Stadiums of old for people to flock to them to be entertained. Yeah, bread and circuses. That was the way to do it. Keep them distracted. That's what's happening today. We're having debates over pronouns, people. People are going to jail around the world that don't have the freedom of speech. They're being locked up. They're being locked up. Lita, como se dice? How you doing, Lita? Good to see you. Shalom, mishpacha. Amen. Amen. Toda rabah. It's good the mishpacha come together. Okay, the voice of weeping shall no longer be heard in her, nor the voice of crying. Notice, why is he? It's a parallelism, yes, but the voice of weeping and wailing and making teshuvah, because that's done. You've made teshuvah. You've repented. No longer be heard in her. Just like the word also says, no longer will a person say no Yahuwah, because everyone will know me. Everyone is in the crowd are of me and my people. That's why they're here. Shall no longer be heard in her, nor the voice of crying, crying of sadness, crying of pain, crying of illness, tears that are not tears of joy, because tears of joy will flow. I don't think our tear ducts will be removed in our perfected bodies. Oh, man. I love this when everyone clutches together and says hello to this one, hello to that one. All right. No more crying. No more shall an infant from there live but a few days, nor an old man who has not fulfilled his days. Okay? Don't just need any little more clarification. No more shall an infant from there live but a few days, nor an old man who has not fulfilled his days. And for the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner, being 100 years old, shall be cursed. In other words, if an old man dies at 100, it must mean something's wrong, because these are the old mortals, are the survivors of the war. Some get saved, others when Satan is released after 1,000 years of peace will flock to change and be deceived by the father of lies. Remember that. At the end of the time of the millennium, the adversary is released. And is he reformed? You know, the prisons used to be called penitentiaries, which means those people, and again, this is perhaps the goal was meant well, but, you're in a penitentiary, you are reformed, you're repentant, okay? You're penitent, and you leave that place trusting in Yah, loving life and the second chance that Yah's given you. But again, that's a good wish. But who do we fill our prisons with? Sadistic guards, perhaps? Unrepentant prisoners who murder and rape each other. It's a nice thought, but that's of the world. But that's the idea of the penitentiary. So when Messiah returns after the wars, those who have not been elevated in the return, who have turned from life to death and to life, resurrected, there will be mortals. There will be mortals who have escaped torture and death. They are alive. And as soon as Messiah declares his kingdom, they have the opportunity to live in that peace also. And they will live their lives, get a chance to enter the kingdom, get a chance to make teshuvah, so that when they're judged at the great white throne judgment, they will be approved, because they have decided to live for Yah and live righteously and see their children grow up and graduate from school at 250 while they're living in these pre-diluvian life expectancies. So it's saying a child, dying at 100, and the sinner being 100 shall be accursed. What did you do that would make you die? Because there's health. People are not going to be sick in the millennial kingdom. People are not going to get, any of these illnesses that threaten us today. There's none. Sar Shalom is here, and he knows what to do. Keep people healthy. Eat better food, not poisoned by all these different restrictions. The New Yerushalayim, yes, eventually that also. But in that millennial kingdom, there will be a change. And again, there will be those who live great, or they will be born during this period of time and saying, look, I'm kind of tired of this stuff. I'd really like to see what's on the other side of the fence. What's this mysterious character that's been missing for all these years? When he reemerges, he hasn't changed. He hasn't reformed. When he's released from his prison, he goes right back. He goes right back again. And those will say, yeah, I want change. Yeah, and the father of lies is going to fill their minds with great things. And then there's going to be a final war, and then that's it. That is it. And then the earth, the heavens will fade away. And the new heavens and the new earth will come. The judgment will take place. And again, that's another whole subject. Okay, let me just read this part here, which describes those events. The first 9 verses of Revelation 20. Then I saw a malach, an angel, coming down from the heavens, having the key to the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, that serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and bound him for 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal on him, so that he could deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years were finished. Till the 1,000 years were finished. Once 1,000 years are finished, all bets are off. Those who have not been glorified, hopefully this does not affect the resurrected beings, but those who have lived from generation to generation, living in perfect peace, would say, no, I'm not going to believe this. I'm not going to believe that. Okay? But there are many. He will deceive the nations. Until once those 1,000 years are finished. But after these things, he must be released for a little while. And I saw thrones, and they sat on them, and judgment was coming to them. And I saw the souls of those who had been beheaded for their witness to Yeshua and for the word of Elohim, who had not worshipped the beast or his image, and had not received his mark on their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Messiah for 1,000 years, but the rest of the dead did not live again until 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and Kadosh, holy, set apart, is he who has part of the first resurrection. Over such the second death has no power, but they shall be Kohanim, priests of Elohim and of Messiah, and shall reign with him for 1,000 years. Reign with him, not over him, but reign with him. We are echad with him. We've been resurrected. He's the Bekor. We're the Bekurim. We're all of the same resurrected beings. He being the glorious Elohim, we being perfected and become spirit beings, eternal, undying. The second death has no power over us. But we got to pass those last tests. There are those who in sports can be in first place. They're in their division the whole year, and then the last few weeks they lose it. Yeah, but we had the best record for the first X amount of months. You mean this last couple of weeks means all that was for nothing? Sí, es verdad. It is true. You got it till the end. Endure till the end. And in that endurance, we must have that simcha, that joy, that we're just another mile, just another mile, just another mile. Look up, for your redemption draws ever closer, ever closer. Okay. Now, when the 1,000 years were expired, Satan will be released from his prison, and will go out and deceive the nations which are in the 4 corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, whose number is as the sand of the sea. A lot of folk fallen for this last deception. They were up on the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of the Kedoshim, the saints, and the beloved city. And fire came down from Elohim out of heaven and devoured them. They were up on the breadth of the earth and surrounded the camp of the Kedoshim, the saints, and the beloved city. What hope do they have? So the adversary convinced them, yeah, we got to, those goody two-shoes, those guys who kind of glow, we got to get rid of them. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to surround them. We're going to surround them and engulf them. It's almost, it is humorous. When you're on the winning team, you can laugh a little bit more. When you're trailing and desperate, you don't laugh as much. We're not desperate. We're not trailing. We are not losing. And we got to make it up in the last quarter. If that's you, if that's how your life is unfolded, so you just are aware and you have that last quarter, you can do it. But if you've been coasting and what's the word of today, Pee-wee's Playhouse? Lollygagging. We don't want to lollygag. Okay. And fire came down from Elohim out of heaven and devoured them. That's the devil who deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Forever and ever. And I think I'm going to stop there. I'm going to stop right there because this is getting good. It's getting hot. It's getting heavy. And there's a lot of aspects of the kingdom that we're still looking into. And the part about the will of Yah is also amazing. And there's so many different dimensions to that. The will of Yah. Thy will be done. Thy will. Yet not my will, but thy will be done. So we praise Yah. We give him thanks. And I thank you. And I thank you for the Mishpacha who joined us tonight. This is all wonderful. You guys watching us live can chat. Those watching us later, enjoy regardless. And hopefully we'll get you next Wednesday or Sabbath service at 11 a.m. We'll be talking about the new oil and also the gathering of the wood. And the wood wasn't being gathered for carpenters developing, building cabinets and bookshelves and such. That wood was being gathered for fire and blood and sacrifice. So that's this coming Sabbath. And be there or be square. Next Wednesday, Yah willing, will be, again, an opportunity for our midweek MIDrash. And again, I thank you so much. We pray for all of you guys, and we love you all dearly. We're so thankful that you've joined us. Again, live, I get to see your comments in the now. Later on, you can check us out, and please do. And again, review this chapter. If there's anything that sounds a little fishy, check us out. Check us, correct us. But I believe what Yah has for us is an unfolding mystery and revelation, and his kingdom is certainly that. For us in this world, it is a mystery. It's yet to happen. And one more, Colin. Hallelujah. Let us run the race in its full endurance and pray that we hear, well done, good and faithful servant. Amen. That's it. That's what we want to hear. We came really close, but better luck next year. Well, unfortunately, there is no next year. There is now, and there is forever. So, Todah Rabbah. Amen. And we wish you all blessings and your families. We pray for your health and your well-being, clarity of your thinking, that you walk with renewed endurance, renewed vigor, and excitement and joy. Simcha. And let your pleasures be the things that cause nachas and pleasure for our Abba in heaven. Amen. Miss Patricia Miller, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you've endured me for the last hour. And again, we say, Baruch Hashem, and feliz cumpleaños feliz, happy birthday once again. And we thank Yah for you. Amen. Thank you, Lita. Amen. And if you would do us the honor of being our final prayer for the evening, please.
Well, our Father, in the name of Yeshua, we thank you and praise you for who you are and for all that you do. We thank you that we come together for Wednesday night to continue our study. We thank you for the many blessings you bestow upon us.
Yes.
So bless each one here tonight. Protect and keep us safe. And Father, I ask you to be with the kids tomorrow as they start school. In Yeshua's name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. B'Shem Yahushua HaMashiach, in His holy name we pray. And we say Todah Rabbah. And again we say Lada Tov U'Lehitraot. We will see you soon. Thank you both for good night. Amen. Hadassah, Colin, Letha. Oh man, I'm going to leave somebody out. Who else is here? Good night, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Be well, brethren.
Good night, everybody.
We love you. Thanks again. Be well. Shalom, shalom.